Craig. KC Sports Network is live every day leading up to the draft, and here we are on a Tuesday evening, getting closer and closer to the annual NFL selection meeting, which is the name that it is actually. And we're really excited. This is our full round one mock draft. I'm here with my dear pals. First, find them on Twitter at Maddie_KCSN. Matthew Lane. Hello, my friend. This is awesome. I'm excited to be doing this with you guys.
Yeah, we like the draft. We mostly focus on the Chiefs, but we're going full round one. We're getting not all, but like 27 teams involved in this particular draft because not everyone has a first round pick. So this is fun. Like, this is something that we don't get to do a ton. This week seems perfect. And I'm so happy that Craig Stout was able to join us. His flight from Mars got back just in time. Craig, how you doing, pal?
I literally just now sat down right before the podcast started. So I'm walking right into this. I'm ready to do it. I'm excited. We're going to involve the people in this. This is going to be great. You guys are going to have some input on this rather than just sit and let us dictate it to you. You get to help decide our round one mock here. This is going to be great. Let's get this thing going.
Yeah, so kind of some ground rules. We're going to make some picks. We'll have some discourse about some of these selections. And then there'll be some moments where maybe we just get the comment section involved in this fine thing. So if we ask, we might throw some polls up and get you guys involved a little bit on some of these picks. But let's start with the first pick in the draft. And it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. And there's a lot of discourse going on right now. Some discussion about Icky Ekwonu, the offensive tackle out of North Carolina State, Trayvon Walker out of Georgia, the defensive end. So I think those are the two that we need to have a little bit of discourse over here on. I do feel like that little nugget it seems real as we sit here. So Maddie, if you had to pick between those two, or are you trying to go off the rails and add a third name into the mix?
No, I think you nailed it. It's Aiden Hutchinson's out. He's old news. Yep. We're looking squarely at Trayvon Walker and Icky Ekwonu. We have our first GM versus head coach battle of the draft as the Jaguars right at number one. Who's going to win out? I end up settling with this. I don't think Doug Peterson's coming in to just take a back seat to anybody. I don't think you bring Doug Peterson in to take a back seat. You're going to pick his guy. Now, which guy's his guy? Yeah, go look what we did in Philadelphia. He liked tackles. Look at the teams he's kind of gone through. He's a big offensive line guy. I think he would lean Icky Ekwonu. I think that's going to be the number one pick. So we've come full circle from like a month and a half ago, in my opinion.
Yeah, right. We really did. Evan Neal was on the board as well. I'm going Icky. I'm going with Maddie here and Doug.
With the first pick.
After every pick?
No, just feeling the first one. With the first pick in the 2022 NFL mock draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select offensive tackle Ikem Ekwonu out of North Carolina State. Detroit Lions sitting here on the clock. I think edge is the move here. I think you have a debate between Aiden Hutchinson and Trayvon Walker. I think those are the two guys that you have the discourse over. Aiden or Trayvon Walker. Where are you going, Maddie?
We're not putting Malik Willis here?
No.
He's better than Trey Lance. So why shouldn't he go higher in a weaker QB class?
He's not better than Trey Lance. Stop this.
Yes, he is.
Good night. The grades don't need... Go look at your grades from a year ago, Matthew.
I didn't grade Malik Willis. I didn't like Trey Lance either, for what it's worth.
Yeah,
I think they're very similar. I actually think they're very similar prospects. I'm surprised you're pushing back so hard. I think they're incredibly similar. Just one played semi-real teams. We don't need to go down this rabbit hole right now. From the get-go, it's been Detroit's going to love Aiden Hutchinson. I get how they like either guy. I get why you would take a chance on Trevon Walker. I'm not going to stray. Like, it's been from the get-go. If he's there, they're taking Aiden Hutchinson. I wouldn't deviate from that at this point in time.
Aiden Hutchinson just seems like a kneecap eater. Like, he just really does.
Love some kneecaps.
Hard working, kneecap eating, born to play in Detroit. I'm in line with Maddie. 2 for 2 here.
All right. With the second pick in the 2022 Chiefs KCSN NFL mock draft, we're going to name it something different every single time. The Detroit Lions select edge Aiden Hutchinson out of their backyard in Michigan. So the Houston Texans are now sitting on the board. And I know there's some discussion about them being a trade-out candidate. There's also a lot of discourse lately about maybe the cornerback position early. And I got to say, I kind of like it. I kind of like the idea of Derek Stingley here at pick 3. I know like that's been some of the buzz recently. Can't say I hate it. I think it kind of is fun. And I mean, like, we all had that belief of him, the Derek Stingley, the player, as a true freshman. He looked like a generational talent. And I mean, I still think it's in him. I don't know about you, Craig, but that's kind of how I feel.
Oh, I definitely feel that way. I've been on the Stingley train since the freshman year when everybody jumped on the Stingley train. I just never wavered off of it. The man is a really, really top shelf football player. I saw somebody say that he was the best corner to come out since Jalen Ramsey. Ooh, that's a tough one because I'd throw Okudah in there. Okudah as a prospect was very, very good, but he's in there. He's in that upper echelon. Corners are a premium position. It matters, and it matters a ton. And when you got a guy that's that good, I mean, Houston can you can't really go wrong if you're Houston. You can take any of the top guys here and be right. Like, there's so much talent on the board. You need so much help. Take the best guy that's left in the class. Take Stingley.
Any pushback, Maddie?
No, let's get to a pick that we might finally disagree on. I think we're right now kind of 3 for 3, all seeing eye to eye. We talk to each other too much, and we haven't even talked about this really. Like, we haven't really talked about a round 1 mock before now, but there's too much growing about them wanting a corner. And it started with Sauce Gardner, but I think Derek Stingley, since his pro day, and he's shown that he's healthy, has really started picking up. So now it's 4th pick time. We'll let everybody, set the table, and Kent's got to do his stuff. But if you're in the chat, be ready, because this is coming to you. You guys get final say on this pick, who the Jets go with. We might try to narrow it down to a poll, so 2 guys, but you guys are going to get to make the final choice. So be ready for that.
Well, yeah. So we're sitting here. The Jets at pick 4. They've got all kinds of options, and it's worth noting that they do have another pick in the top 10. So they've got the 10th pick in the draft as well. So there's some things to consider here. There's some good football players on the board. You've got, you could look at edge. You could look at, Trayvon Walker, Kayvon Thibodeaux. You could look at the tackle, Evan Neal, Charles Cross. Like, they've got their selection. They've got some really interesting guys. There's some wide receivers that are getting some love there. There's a lot of different positions here on the board. I think it's worth throwing Evan Neal's name out there. And I think it's worth, throwing Trayvon Walker's name out there as 2 potential fits. Trayvon Walker's a little bit tricky, but let's throw those 2 names out there now. Maddie, do you have any other names you want to throw out for the New York Jets at this point?
Are we out on Sauce Gardner? Like, I'm fine with saying they're deciding between Evan Neal. Are we out on them taking a corner? Because I know that was a buzzy pick kind of early in the process.
I think I'm out on them taking a corner. I think with the edge board falling the way that it is right here, having a chance at the number 2 edge off the board makes sense. Stay put here and take the second best, or they might view him as the best pass rusher in the class. Take him here.
Yeah, so I think we're split between Trayvon Walker and Evan Neal here.
I just want to say this. I saw a couple Kayvon Thibodeaux show up in the chat, and I think they should. It sounds like the Jets might be out on him, though. Now, maybe this is lying season. Maybe we're all getting duped from lying season. But I think it sounds like they would rather have Jermaine Johnson than Kayvon Thibodeaux. A lot of trusted sources have said they're out on him. So we're going to go Trayvon Walker, Evan Neal. Evan Neal, in case they don't believe in Mekhi Becton, in case they don't think he's ready. Trevon Walker, if they're trying to get their version of Eric Armstead. I think that's a pretty good comp just straight across for him. So one of those two guys will let people vote a little bit longer here. And if you guys want to make a case for one person, go ahead.
Well, I think we have a very clear consensus in the early voting enough to make the decision and make this pick. So I'm going to go ahead. Now, you guys can be surprised if you'd like. This could actually kind of be fun for you guys, maybe.
Yeah.
With the fourth pick in the 2022 NFL Chiefs KCSN mock draft, the New York Jets select edge Trayvon Walker out of Georgia is the move. It's the pick by the Jets. So we're going to move on just down the street from them. The New York Giants are sitting at pick 5. Another team, a very interesting team in this draft, picking 5th and 7th. I think this is another team. You could make a case for tackle. You could make a case for edge. I think Evan Neal makes a ton of sense here.
I know they also love Charles Cross. Is that because they think Charles Cross is off the board already, and that's why they love
Evan
him?
Neal?
Sorry, yes. If they think Evan Neal's already off the board, and that's why they love him, or do they actually love Charles Cross? I would lean Evan Neal. The Brian Daboll, Alabama connection's there. He should know all about him. I think that's a pretty good pairing with what they should be doing on offense, whereas Charles Cross, I think, should be a team that's trying to drop back and throw it a little bit more. So that's the way I'd lean. Again, though, I want to give some credits. Any thought to Sauce Gardner going to a Wink Martindale defense that centers around corners?
Man, I think that this is about where Sauce can come into play. I think this is probably the earliest pick that he could come into play, but I think if Evan Neal's off the board, it makes it a little tougher. I think then you got the coin flip between Charles Cross and Sauce Gardner, but with Evan Neal being on the board, I don't think that you can pass. Like, he's the guy that you got to take in this scenario.
Well, and here I'll push back. I'll also ask this. Do we think the Carolina Panthers are going to go and take a cornerback? So if you're looking at the Giants situation, you could have them trading back and or you could have the Giants, taking their corner the second, but making sure that they get their tackle at pick 5.
Counter. The Panthers are a prime trade up spot. Would somebody trade up to take Sauce Gardner if he's still available? Corner is a position that people move up for. I think it's worth the risk. Like, don't get me. I think it's worth the risk. It's just that would be my counter to the counter. So we're going with Evan Neal.
With the 5th pick, the New York Giants are selecting offensive tackle Evan Neal out of Alabama, and I think Carolina at 6 is very intriguing. So
they're trading out.
I think they're trading out.
Push back?
I agree.
Okay.
No, I think they're trading out. And I want to throw what if this is where we need to have the quarterback conversation, fellas.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is where the quarterback conversation starts. Do we think that the Saints are legitimately in on going up and moving up for a tackle? Because this would be a prime opportunity for them to go ahead and get up.
They can't get to 6 with the Panthers.
You don't think they can get to 6 to the Panthers?
I don't think the Panthers would trade with the Saints.
Yeah. You think that they're going to trade in division there?
That's a good
I don't
point.
think so.
That's a very good
think
point.
so.
I think you're looking at the Seahawks maybe jumping up a little bit if they want a quarterback, if they want Malik Willis to come in and be their guy, because it sounds like they're not that interested in Baker Mayfield, at least right now. They jump Atlanta. They make sure the Carolina's not taking who they want. I don't think the Washington Commanders have a ton to deal with, so I don't know if their team is trying to trade up. Like, I know the Panthers want out, but I don't know if there's a lot of teams that want to get up to that point specifically for a quarterback. But if you're not going for a quarterback, I don't know what else you're going to trade that far up for.
Well, so do we think that there's a trade out here for them to find?
I mean, I think that they'd have to take pennies on the dollar. I don't think it's the trade that they want at that point, because I think you can stay put if you're a lot of these teams and still catch guys that you want. Man, I don't. The more I think about it, they want to, but the more I think about it, the less confident I am that there's going to be a trade up from one of those teams, especially for a quarterback.
Philly?
I'm just not sure.
All right, so
Philly would be interesting. Okay, so we don't think Seattle would try to jump Atlanta to make sure they get their choice of a quarterback. That's the one I keep coming back to, because Seattle has picks. They have 2 early second-round picks. They have enough picks to move around, especially after Russell Wilson's trade. I don't know what Atlanta's doing. Nobody does, but how many more years can you sit on your hands without taking a quarterback? Like, you passed on Justin Fields last year. You passed on Mac Jones. Malik Willis has the tools, whatever you want to say, he has the upside and the tools. Are you really going to sit out any longer and not take Malik Willis if you're Atlanta? Does Seattle even want him? Like, that's where you have to kind of decide is, does Atlanta want a quarterback? If so, should Seattle go up and get one or not?
I don't think Seattle's moving up for a quarterback. I don't think they're playing in this market. I think they're going to let a quarterback fall to them if they really, if he's there, great. But I don't think they're moving up to go get one. So, Maddie, why don't you make the decision here? Do we just give Carolina Charles Cross?
Yeah,
here?
If they're not trading out, they're taking Charles Cross. I think.
I think that's the move. All right, with the 6th pick, the Carolina Panthers select Charles Cross. Maddie doesn't like this one.
I think we're gearing up to not have a quarterback go in the top 10, and this will be the second time in 2 decades.
I think this might be the year.
Second time in 2 decades. You know me. I don't want to be the outlier. Malik Willis is better than Trey Lance. He went 4.
Well, New York Giants at pick 7. I think we all think we're giving them Ahmad Gardner. We're giving them Sauce Gardner out of Cincinnati. I think that's a pretty easy one. I think the Giants are thrilled if they end this draft with pick 5 getting
Evan Neal and Sauce Gardner.
Oh, that's a great haul for them.
Yeah.
All right. The Atlanta Falcons sitting here at pick 8.
This is the chat. I want to see a bunch of names come from the chat because I don't know what no one knows what the Falcons are doing. If you're here listening, start throwing names out because we'll get a poll at the end. But give us some names because this is a wild one.
Yeah, I think about it. Drake London. Maybe you see the first wide receiver come off the board here. I mean, quarterback could come off the board here. You got They got a bunch of needs too.
We got
I don't think they're going
right away. They're all different.
Oh, everyone got a different receiver. I think that let's you know what? Let's do that here. Let's go receiver here. We're seeing a lot of love for Garrett Wilson. We're seeing a lot of love for Drake London. And I think this probably sounds about right. I do think one receiver does wind up in the top 10 in some capacity. I think that happens. So why don't we go Drake London versus Garrett Wilson? I think that's a pretty strong consensus on the top 2 guys. So we'll try to throw a vote up here to give you guys the choice between Garrett Wilson and Drake London at receiver for the Atlanta Falcons. I like
quick case for Drake London before you guys vote. Look at the offensive coordinator or head coach, Arthur Smith.
Yeah.
Look at who's the last small wide receiver the Titans or the Arthur Smith used. I think Drake London makes sense. I did see some people say Kayvon Thibodeaux as best player available. I agree. They also need edge rush. If you're a team, I don't know if Atlanta would or wouldn't do it. I have no read on that whatsoever. So I think he was certainly worth being in consideration here for the Atlanta Falcons. This is also the time where I would start if I were the Chiefs trying to call up and see what the asking price is to go get Kayvon Thibodeaux. This is the thing. But that's just, I saw some Kayvon Thibodeaux. I wouldn't call it out. I would take Malik Willis if I was them, get a jump on the rest of the NFC that's really bad. Get your young quarterback in there cooking earlier than everybody else. He's got all the talent. Quit waiting. You're never going to you're not going to keep drafting in the top 5 every year, Atlanta. When do you think you're getting a quarterback if you never actually take one?
I think they're sitting it out for next year.
They pick 12? What are they going to do?
They're not going to pick 12. They're going to be worse next year. With the 8th pick, I do have the results. We have good data on the results. The Atlanta Falcons select wide receiver Drake London out of USC. I like the move. Seattle Seahawks sitting at 9, and every quarterback at their disposal is here. Do we want to have the conversation here?
I want to have the conversation about the Oregon pass rusher that shouldn't fall out of the top 10 here. He's from Oregon, Seattle. They're right there. He's from the Pacific Northwest. He's close. He's right there. Man, you've got a built-in fan base and everything. That seems like a good business move for them. And they need pass rush too.
I'm okay with it too. I'll be honest with you. I like the move. I think you're going to see quarterbacks fall. And I think you're going to see that 10 to 20 range. I think there will be a quarterback or two that comes off the board. But I do like the idea of giving Kayvon Thibodeaux to the Seattle Seahawks. Maddie, are you going to get upset at me if we do that?
No, I think it's if they're not in on quarterback, I think it's logical that he doesn't get past this point. You know me, I don't like betting on the things that are extremely unlikely for no reason. And I think that's with no quarterbacks going to the top 10. I think that's what we're doing. This will be the second time in 2 decades that this happens. I think as a prediction, that's an interesting take because we've had worse quarterback classes where guys have gone to the top 10 than this.
I think this is the second worst quarterback class in the last 20 years. So that's how I feel.
I just see, like, I think we're underselling Malik Willis's high side here. If we're going to say that Trey Lance in a strong class was a QB4 or we're, worth a top 5 pick and Malik Willis isn't worth, it's just, that's my pushback. It's not that he has to go here. I think Thibodeau's a good pick. We should do it. I don't feel great about having a predictive mock draft with no trades in the top 10 and Malik Willis not going. That's all.
Well,
voicing my displeasure, Kent.
I get it.
I think the quarterbacks are going to fall. I still think that there'll be plenty in the first round, but I think the quarterbacks are going to fall, and I think Seattle feels comfortable at trading back in for a guy at the end, so they take Kayvon Hill.
Okay, so I think there's been some discourse, and we had some discourse, I believe, at pick 4 about Sauce Gardner going to the Jets potentially at the top of that at pick 4. They're sitting at 10. Both of the cornerbacks are gone. This might be another trade back opportunity here for the Jets as well. So the Jets, this could be another intriguing one for them potentially. So who's coming up and what are they coming up for? Because Jermaine Johnson's out here on the board. And the Jets already took their edge rusher. I could see this being a scenario and someone moving up to go and try to get a pass rusher. Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State, sitting here still on the board. So I thought about Green Bay. Green Bay might be a team here that could potentially move up and go kind of try to move up here for pick 10 to secure their pass rusher. Do you have any other ideas, Maddie, to throw out as potential trade ups here for the Jets?
Do the Jets trade away from essentially their choice of second wide receiver? Like if Drake London was their wide receiver 1, okay, they're trading out. But if he wasn't, or if they had a wide receiver 1A, like I think they take their receiver. That team is desperate for some receiver help.
But they've only got one off the board at this point.
Right,
it's
but
true.
How far down are they going to go? But that's what I'm saying is, are they going to trade down just to pick from the leftovers, or are they going to take their guy? That's why I said it depends on Drake London. Jameson Williams to me makes too much sense because they were intrigued. And Tyreek Hill, you want a guy that's going to give you the closest thing to it. It's going to be Jameson Williams. I'm with you guys though. If somebody wants to come up to get a Jermaine Johnson, it would make sense, but I don't have a team in mind.
We'll hold it back. We'll hold back on it one more. Craig, are you good with holding off on Jermaine Johnson here and just okay?
Yeah, I am. I think that either this pick gets traded for one of the premium wide receivers before the draft in the next couple of days, or they take one of the top guys. They take a Jameson Williams here. I think it's a receiver to New York either way, but with them staying put, we're just going to go ahead and do it. Yep.
We're going to go ahead. We're going to go
Deebo Samuel comments
with the 10th pick. The New York Jets select wide receiver Jameson Williams out of Alabama. Let's talk about the Washington Commanders at 11. Same conversation we just had. This could be another Jermaine Johnson territory in a trade up. Washington does not have a 3rd round pick this year. They only have 6 picks in this entire draft. So this is a team that probably would be willing to take some capital. And you could probably, you could probably look at Green Bay potentially as a team moving up to try to go, maybe go secure their pass rusher. And I'm going to do the draft math here really quick, but I think pick 22 and pick 106 gets you up there absolutely perfectly. So, or pick 53. Sorry, 22 and 53.
Green Bay is a team that's going to trade up for an older player? They'll take older players, but they don't usually do it in the first round. So are they going to double down on that and trade up for one?
I think teams are going to get a little antsy here, looking at the cliff after these 4 edge rushers and want to go move up for one. I think this makes sense to bring Jermaine Johnson into the fold for Washington. Do you have a strong opinion on not doing that, Maddie?
No. If you have a case for Green Bay coming up, then Green Bay can come on up. I am in this weird spot where I don't know what to do with Jermaine Johnson. Honestly, I'm in a very weird spot that I don't know how much teams value him to trade up. It almost feels like he's in the karloftis tub where teams are going to wait for him to fall. So I can buy him falling if it doesn't go defensive end right off the very tip top. Like if your first, 2 or 3 of your first picks aren't defensive ends, I can see an avenue where he falls. And there's just not enough buzz around people dying to get him. So like that's where my hesitation is.
I think
I'm with that. Yeah, it's tough because I think all the guys that were slam dunk, you have to trade up and make big trade ups for, I think are off the board now. And the Commanders are a team that need defensive back help, need some offensive tackle help. All the good ones are off the board now. I mean, they got Kyle Hamilton that's still on the board. I don't know if he still goes top 10 with the way that he ran. Like there's a lot of questions about him. The quarterback is here, but they just traded for Carson Wentz. I know
they're not drafting a quarterback.
I know that none of us believe in Carson Wentz. Trust me, we don't believe in him at all, but they're not going to trade for Carson Wentz and then turn around and take a top 10 quarterback, even though they should. But they're just in a weird spot. The stuff that they need is gone. So they are praying that somebody comes up for it.
I've seen enough Kyle Hamilton. How do we feel about Kyle Hamilton there? They're going to get rid of Landon Collins post June 1st. They definitely need some safeties. They need someone to pair with Cam Curl. He's more than just a safety. He's a little bit of a versatile guy. Ron Rivera likes defenders. He likes guys that are these hybrid players. You can go back to Shaq Thompson with the Carolina Panthers. Like that seems kind of like a Washington Commanders, front, like the guys that run that team pick. How do we feel about a Kyle Hamilton in this spot?
I like it, but I mean, Maddie, we don't have any trade ups yet.
I agree.
We've heard that Schefter put out there that not a ton of teams are wanting to trade up into the top 10 right now in this draft class. They believe that they can catch what they need.
I think we missed the trade upable players. I think once we pass Thibodeaux, we pass the players that are worth trading up for. If I'm being frank. Now, you have 2 wide receivers that play at Ohio State that I think starting here with the Vikings, and maybe we can put this to the chat. Should the Minnesota Vikings trade up? Yes or no? Or trade back? Yes or no? Let's just start there.
We haven't picked the Commanders yet.
They're getting Kyle Hamilton. I see it in the sheet, Kent.
Okay. Well, I haven't announced the pick yet.
But we need to put in the chat, should the Minnesota Vikings trade back? Yes or no? Because I think this is where you do start to maybe see somebody starting to come up for wide receivers. It's an analytically driven front office there in Minnesota. Do they want to trade back, recoup a couple picks? They're not taking a wide receiver. I don't think there's anybody left that jumps out that they have to have at this pick that they're afraid everybody else is going to take. So I think this is another spot that teams like actually should be trying to get up to. I would say the target would be Garrett Wilson, would be or Chris Olave if a team loves him. If you guys have anybody else worth targeting, you can say that.
With the 11th pick, the Washington Commanders select safety Kyle Hamilton out of Notre Dame. The Minnesota Vikings are on the clock, and we are exploring trade backs potentially for the Minnesota Vikings here. Should they try to move back, and maybe a receiver is the move? We are getting overwhelming votes for yes, Craig, on this.
Listen. We're in prime Jordan Davis territory, baby. Like Jordan Davis could be coming off the board. They've got Dalvin Tomlinson at nose tackle here. I mean, he would make an impact in that defense. Like he would be really good there for them. So I don't know. I would consider Jordan Davis at this point for the Minnesota Vikings. It makes sense.
The Vikings are trading up according to our poll here. So we will be having the Minnesota Vikings trade up. Trading back. I mean, apologies. Who's coming up and who are they coming up for?
Steelers, Malik Willis getting ahead of the New Orleans Saints.
All right.
I like that move, actually.
I like
that a lot.
I like that. So
they went and visited. They went to the Liberty Pro Day. They skipped pro days of teams that have multiple prospects to go watch just Malik Willis. The Steelers, like the Cowboys, aren't particularly good at hiding who they might be interested in, right?
Okay, so yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. Pittsburgh's given up 20 and 52 to move up with Minnesota. Minnesota might kick another kind of late pick back to them, but we're gonna have the Pittsburgh Steelers trading up with the Minnesota Vikings to go select quarterback Malik Willis out of Liberty. And this is what's interesting to me is I think Houston's also another prime trade back candidate as well at 13. There's a lot of talk that they might be another team that might want to move back, and maybe this is where an edge rusher comes in. I mean, we could throw this out for the Chiefs. I mean, this is actually getting in a realistic scenario for the Chiefs to consider trading back too. So do we you want to have the Jermaine Johnson discourse about whether or not you'd move up to 13?
I mean, I would seriously consider this because I think you can make the move here. You can trade 29 and 50, get up to right about this spot, especially with the value of what we're hearing of some of these trades. Like you see Jermaine Johnson hit this point and you pull the trigger. Like I think that you gotta come up and take the last edge guy. He fell to a point where you're just giving up, pick 50. You're still going to have 2 first-round picks. You're still going to have a natural second. Like, you still got a lot of good players that you're going to be able to add to your defense, and you get one of the top edges. To me, it's a no-brainer. But let's see what the chat. Let's see what you guys say here, because I think that this is where, if I was Brett Veach, I'd be getting real impatient about coming up.
Yeah, we should put. Should the Chiefs trade up?
I'll tell you. I'm going to tell you. Here we go. It's pick 29. It's pick 50.
And don't vote right away, guys. I'm going to make the other case. I'm going to make the case for no after Craig did the yes.
Pick 29, 50, and 135 to the Houston Texans for pick 13 to acquire Jermaine Johnson in a trade up with the Houston Texans. 29, 50, 135 gets you where you need to be.
So this is the first pick that I start calling about Jermaine Johnson, but I'm only taking a great deal. I'm not trading up unless I'm getting huge value back. I just said it. I don't know if Jermaine Johnson's the guy that I feel great about trading up for. Like, I think he's a guy I like. I just don't know if I feel great about trading up for. So I want value if I'm going to get him. I get that the edge kind of market kind of falls off a little bit after this, but I'm not doing it without good value. That's where I would push back to say no.
And I will just tell you this, Maddie. I'm looking at the early returns on this trade, and it's overwhelming. No.
I like the call here. No, I like the call here. I think you call Houston, you see what they want, and unless it's a good deal, I think you don't do it. Now, if you get a good deal here, I'm all aboard. But Jermaine Johnson, I just don't know if he's the trade-up guy. I feel like there's not a high enough ceiling with Jermaine Johnson to justify 2 top 50 picks for me. That's where I sit with it.
Okay. Well, the Houston Texans are sitting on the board now. And
Garrett Wilson.
I think that's right. I think you go with a receiver here.
A lot of smoke from them liking him too.
Garrett Wilson going to the Houston Texans at pick 13. The Chiefs, we all thought about trading it, and you, as Brett Veach, voted very definitively to not trade up that kind of capital for Jermaine Johnson. So the Baltimore Ravens sitting here on the clock. Is this the Jordan Davis pick? Is this where Jordan Davis goes off the board? Yes,
it absolutely is. He doesn't fall past this pick. You've got to trade up in front of the Ravens to get him. There's no chance. No, this seems chalk. It really does.
This is a very Ravensy pick, if you ask me. So I'm going to go ahead. We're going to move on to this one because we're going slow. Pick 14, the Baltimore Ravens select defensive tackle Jordan Davis out of Georgia. Absolute monster of a human. Philadelphia Eagles with their first round pick of the night, sitting at 15. Another interesting one here. What do we got? What do you think, Maddie?
Sounds like they love Trent McDuffie out of Washington. It sounds like that's a corner that they really like. They're willing to get by the size issues. So I think he's definitely a possibility here. They brought back Derek Barnett. It's a 1-year deal, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot of smoke for them with defensive ends. So I don't know if Jermaine Johnson's a huge target for them. Maybe they see too much talent there to pass it up. But
sorry, I'm not trying to interrupt you. I think you can get McDuffie at 18. I think we might be overthinking this. This is probably Jermaine Johnson. It's got to be Jermaine Johnson.
Oh, see, I was going to come back at the end of mine and say I think it's Chris Olave because there's no chance they get him after the Saints and the Chargers, but they can get McDuffie after them.
But I think they'd go edge before they go receiver.
You think so?
Yes.
Interesting, because everything has been they're chasing receivers.
I just think Jermaine Johnson's the best player on the board. And I think if Jermaine Johnson's not on the board, you have the conversation about going like an Olave, McDuffie combo. But I think Jermaine Johnson sitting here is just too good a value.
I don't think that Derek Barnett is preventing you from taking Jermaine Johnson. I just don't. I don't think that that's stopping that. So
No, I agree with that. I don't think you hear enough about them being interested in defensive ends to think that it's definitely a better value or the move over receiver. I'm fine with it. Like, I'm not going to push back. They could go that route.
I've heard edge is a need for them in a lot of different places. I've seen edges mocked to them. I think this is where Jermaine Johnson's slide stops. I think at 15, Jermaine Johnson, the edge out of Florida State, is the pick for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I mean, hey, I think that's really good value for them, and I think they're excited about it.
Yeah, and we can skip the Saints pick. It's Chris Olave. We can let the chat take the Chargers pick. It'll be a lot more fun. The Saints pick's too easy. The Saints get Chris Olave. They need receiver help. They can try to get he makes so much sense. Yeah, they can try to get a tackle next.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really, really smart. All right, the Los Angeles Chargers, I think, is where things get kind of interesting here at pick 17. There's a lot of places that they could go with this. What do you think? I mean, like, I'm glad Jordan Davis didn't fall to them, is my initial thought. That's my initial thought, is just relief that Jordan Davis didn't fall to them. I mean, where do we think
options, right?
You could go tackle. You could go
tackle or corner, right? I mean,
there still could be interest with the receiver,
add a
right?
corner here. There hadn't been a whole lot of corners off the board. Trent McDuffie's still there. I mean, you can add to that room. That would be a good move, especially in the AFC West with the offenses that are there. But if you're looking at tackle, who's the next best guy that's out there? You're talking Trevor Penning here. I mean, like that would be probably the next best guy. I think I personally like the value of McDuffie better than I like the value of Penning, but I also understand protecting Justin Herbert. So I get it completely if they wanted to book in those two, with Rashawn Slater.
So the Chargers cornerback room is J.C. Jackson, Michael Davis, and then Asante Samuel, who they drafted last year. Asante Samuel's penciled in as the slot. Is McDuffie going to take Michael Davis' spot? I thought Michael Davis was fine to good last year. Not that I agree that he shouldn't stop you. Somebody like Michael Davis maybe doesn't let you take off, somebody like McDuffie. But if you're a team that runs a lot of this zone stuff, you usually want a little bit more size. They have the slot corner already with Asante Samuel. I don't know. I would almost lean towards you could sell me more on a Kaiir Elam, I think, for this defensive scheme than you might be able to sell me for somebody like McDuffie.
Let's mix things up a little bit just because we need a few surprises in this draft. And Kaiir Elam,
a lot of pinnings in the chat. Is it the chat's pick or our pick?
I think it's the chat's pick.
Let's give the chat. Let's give it to. I mean, if we're seeing a lot, let's maybe not do this poll, but we'll just give them Trevor Penning.
Yeah, there's a lot of pinning in there.
Well, I think if the Chargers could never start Storm Norton or Trey Pipkins again, they would absolutely take a pick to make sure that never happens again.
Which would mean if the Chargers at 17 do take Trevor Penning, the offensive tackle out of Northern Iowa, that does leave Trent McDuffie available to the Philadelphia Eagles at pick 18. And they're probably pretty happy with this selection.
The Vikings are punching air right now.
They were hoping to get him. They were hoping that he was still going to fall.
I would think so. I think it's another person they just generally like too. Same thing. You're dealing with a coaching staff from that same tree. They would be willing, or not the Philadelphia Eagles tree, but like a coaching staff tree that will use undersized corners. They would be very willing to take McDuffie if he was there, which he's not.
All right, what do we think about the New Orleans Saints here? There's not really great tackle value sitting here.
Oh, buddy. Tyler Smith. I know. You give me that look. There's surprises every year. The Saints very clearly traded up to get 2 picks. We don't have them going to get a quarterback. What else did they get 2 picks for this year? There's somebody else they wanted in this draft class that they thought would be available in this range. If we don't have them trading up and just sitting here idly, looking at the board, then they should have never made this trade, right? Like, I mean, it makes no sense. They have a plan. I think it's got to be another tackle. They have to replace Terron Armstead. I think they have their swing tackle is good enough to buy some time while Tyler Smith learns. That's just the guy out there that I want to throw out there. He's going in round 1. This would definitely be early. It's just, there's going to be surprises, and the Saints had to have a plan. So I just don't know who else their plan could be if it's not trading up for a quarterback.
They need a left tackle. They got to have a left tackle, period. They got to walk away from this draft with a left tackle. Yeah, I know that they're building for the future and that they're going to be selecting a quarterback in the future, but man, solidify that offensive line. They've done a really good job of building their offensive line over the years and then putting the quarterback behind it, and living with it. I think that it might make some sense for Tyler Smith or Raymond from Central Michigan could be a guy as well. I just think that Tyler Smith fits their mold a little bit better than Raymond does. So I would
much younger.
And much younger. I would agree with Maddie. With Smith
I like
here.
it. All right, we'll go with Tyler Smith. With
Good oil staff too. They coach up offensive linemen pretty well.
I like it. I like it. 19 New Orleans Saints select. Yeah, let's throw a few surprises in there, huh? I like it.
I want to answer. Somebody asked they don't go QB here. I thought about it. I did, but without Willis, we don't really seem to have a lot of pressure for the quarterbacks going. I don't know what their exact move would be. Are they taking Matt Corral here? I know that's the easy connection that everybody takes to the Saints, but this seems really early for Matt Corral. That seems like a draft day trade to go get him, not done way in advance. Like that's my only pushbacks. I don't know what quarterback left fits what they do. It isn't Kenny Pickett. I don't think they take Kenny Pickett.
Is it your boy Desmond Ritter?
I don't think they operate that way. I think he needs to go to a heavy run team with play action. Don't worry, I got a Desmond Ritter spot coming up a little later too. So.
I think I know where you're going with Desmond Ritter too. Check the comp in the KCSN draft guide if you have it. Yeah?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay, yeah. Actually, you should if you are watching this, thank you so much. We would love you to purchase the KCSN draft guide. It's $12.99. There's a link in the description of this show. And it has all the guys that we've talked about so far, write-ups on how they would fit the Chiefs. Specifically, although, I mean, I don't think Derek Stingley's falling to the Chiefs, but we have 225 write-ups on prospects and how they fit the Chiefs. So, yeah, I would check that out. There's a link in the description of this show. Minnesota Vikings sitting here at pick 20. They traded back a little bit. I mean, cornerback, I think you could make an argument. What else? I mean, I don't know.
Corner makes sense. McDuffie is still on the board. I know I keep trying to slot
McDuffie's off the board. He went to the Eagles.
Off the board. Oh, that's right. He went to the Eagles. I'm sorry. I forgot that McDuffie went to the Eagles there. Man, at that point, like you're talking Kyer Elam. I don't love that. I don't know if that's a little bit too early for him. The Vikings really didn't get what they wanted out of this trade. I guess George Karloftis is still here. They do need a little pass rush help. He could be, this could be where he starts getting introduced into it. Maybe Andrew Booth. Maybe you see him start to slot in here. They've not been particularly shy with injuries or anything like that. I don't know. Who do you guys think? Do we want to put this one to a poll? I mean, this is going to be a difficult one.
I think this could be a fun one to put to a poll. I think this could be a really fun one.
You got to find two players, though. That's the trick. Is like,
right.
we can't. How do we limit this to two players? I mean,
we could go. I think you could go.
Because they signed Zadarius Smith. They kept Daniil Hunter around. And but is Devontae Wyatt a sneaky need? They've been chasing interior pass rush for a long time. You're coming from the Rams that have some interior guys. Devontae Wyatt's the only other defensive tackle that gets round one buzz. Travis Jones, I see in the chats another possibility if they want a bigger guy. This seems a little early for Travis Jones to me, though, just based on what we've heard.
What about safety?
Harrison Smith's a little older.
He is. Is this where you start maybe seeing Lewis Cine come in? I think that Devontae Wyatt makes a lot Jr. I mean,
Wyatt or Booth in a poll? Is that Wyatt or Booth in a poll?
I like that.
Let's do Devontae Wyatt or Andrew Booth Jr. in a poll for
the people decide.
Yeah,
let the people pick.
Will the Vikings overlook Andrew Booth's injury concerns because corner's their biggest need, or will they flip and maybe go for Devontae Wyatt, get some interior pass rush and the ability to play the run? Like, Devontae Wyatt's not just like a one-trick guy there for the interior. Or will you get Devontae Wyatt in there to help out Zadarius Smith, to help out Daniil Hunter as they go? So, you guys can just tell us in the chat right now. The poll might be coming up here in a second, or you can tell us. I'm seeing a couple Somebody's saying no edge or CB Linderbaum in play. What are they going to do with Bradbury? How are you going to play two 280-pound offensive centers on the interior? Bradbury already good Lord, Bradbury already gets bossed around.
All right, the pick is in.
Oh,
I've seen enough.
Have you seen enough?
Yeah, the math just doesn't make, it works very quickly with these polls.
Trade back again. That would have been an option. We could have explored that. But I like the vote here. I think that was a good one.
With the 20th pick, the Minnesota Vikings select interior defensive lineman Devontae Wyatt out of Georgia. Okay.
Thank goodness.
New England Patriots love to trade back, boys. They love to trade back. And the Green Bay Packers are sitting here with 2 picks before the Kansas City Chiefs select.
Ooh, this feels like another poll brewing.
I think this might be where the Chiefs need to move up to go grab George Karloftis, the edge, out of Purdue. And
you're not buying the new hype that he's fallen to the round 2.
I am not.
Okay.
And honestly, with as much draft capital as the Chiefs have,
they have a lot, and we've just kind of sat in our hands.
As big of a need as they have here at edge, I think you go to make sure that you secure your edge. So you could give 20, you take 29, you take pick 94, and you take you could take pick 135, 29, 94, and 135 to move up ahead of the Green Bay Packers to take George Karloftis.
Three picks in the top 135 for George Karloftis.
I don't love that. I don't love that personally.
This is the range where this is the range where I also put for Karloftis. Fish for a great deal, and I don't know if that's a great deal. I feel very hesitant to pay up to price for Karloftis in this spot.
So the vote is up and available.
Okay. I'm not going to vote, so I can't even see the results. I'll just let you tell me. I think it's a little too much for what I feel comfortable with for Karloftis.
This is incredible.
Same thing with Jermaine Johnson. The
is it 100%? Is it
100% no for the Chiefs trading up for George Karloftis? But I think we need somebody to trade up for George Karloftis here. So
you think so?
We have one trade right now, Matthew.
I agree, but this is the same thing with Jermaine Johnson. Is Karloftis worth trading up for?
I think some teams might be willing to.
Back up to is if he's worth trading up for. I'm looking at the Patriots, and I'm looking at 2 guys that just scream New England Patriots to me.
Okay.
Lewis Cine, because of his football IQ and his ability to play everywhere, and Bill Belichick loves collecting corners, or defensive backs, or linebacker, whether you want to pick Devin Lloyd or Quay Walker, a long, big linebacker to play in the middle of that team. Like, I'm looking at the Patriots specifically. I know they like to trade back, but like those 2 guys, both out of Georgia, I know if you're going to use Quay Walker, they scream Bill Belichick-y to me.
I mean, Devin Lloyd does a little bit as well.
Yeah,
like I would get it. So I know how you feel about him, but I would get Devin Lloyd here. Their linebacker room is not great, and Bill loves him some linebackers. He's got some reclamation projects on there. It's just not super awesome. So I could see them investing in that position. I can also see them investing in Cine. I really could. Lewis Cine, it kind of reminds me of, a lot of the smart safeties, the smart second level guys that they've drafted. He just kind of fits. He's got the football in him. So I could see Bill falling completely in love with Lewis Cine and everything he did for Kirby Smart's defense.
All right. Well, let's just make a pick then. Lewis Cine. I like it. Let's go safety. Okay. Lewis Cine to Georgia. Back-to-back Georgia Bulldogs going, and the New England Patriots get a quintessential Patriot. Lewis Cine is, I agree. He is very Patriotish.
Boy, the Patriots roster's rough.
It's
not good.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably like Jaquan Brisker or something instead because Bill overdrafts everybody. Green Bay Packers, I think Karloftis is going. I think this is where Karloftis goes. I think they sit and wait at receiver. There's some, potential guys there, but I think they'd rather prioritize the edge position. They're going to get a young guy with, a lot of linear explosive ability. I think this is where George Karloftis is going, guys. I'm taking it here.
I think so.
I think
so.
I know Maddie. Maddie wants to slow it down and have us argue for 5 minutes about receiver.
No, we can put him in there. I just don't think so. I think you're overvaluing Karloftis a little bit by saying he's the clear-cut best player left still.
He's not. He's not.
I don't think so.
I don't think
the
NFL agrees that a very stiff guy who's been iffy versus the run is a round one worthy edge. So
I think he's like every other edge they've ever draft or ever acquired. Like these big stiff. Zadarius Smith. I think that's exactly what he is. So I think they go grab George Karloftis here. Arizona Cardinals. Trade back? Is this another team looking to trade back a little bit potentially? Who do you like here for them?
I'll let you work in a trade because I know you want to get one in because I think there's a guy here that they probably wouldn't pass on.
Is it Kyrie Elam?
No.
Ooh,
we're protecting Kyler Murray. We got to make Kyler Murray happy. Kyler Murray is very angry right now. We're saving that man's life.
You think it's Zion Johnson?
I think Zion Johnson's here. I think it's very unsexy, but it's a very easy pick for them. But I would be willing to listen to a trade offer that you have here.
I wonder if maybe the Detroit Lions love Desmond Ritter. Maybe this is where the Detroit Lions move up a little bit to just make sure that they're getting out ahead of some teams to try to make sure that they secure their quarterback. I have another team I like that potentially do that, and maybe I could see a couple teams trying to get back into, or trying to get back into the second or into the end of the first round. I think there's some teams here that maybe the back end of the first round gets a little wild with quarterbacks. So I think Kenny Pickett and Desmond Ritter could fall off the board here. So I could see a team coming up and moving up for let's call it Desmond Ritter. Let's say it's Seattle moving up for Desmond Ritter. What do you think about that, Maddie?
Well, they're not going to trade with the divisional rival.
Oh, that's right.
Arizona.
The other team's going to have to do it. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. If you were having Ritter come off the board here, this is the trade up for it. I'm fine with Zion Johnson. Zion Johnson is a round one player. He's got to slot in somewhere. If it's not, and here's the other part of this. If he doesn't get taken here, I think Dallas takes him in the very next pick.
Yeah,
they need some offensive line help.
You're right.
So I think that he's coming off the board there.
That's good.
So it makes sense.
All right, Zion Johnson, pick 23, Arizona Cardinals. Okay, Dallas Cowboys now sitting here. This could, I don't know. They don't really trade back very often.
Tyler Linderbaum also fits. Another round one player who would fit on the interior of that. I could see that happening.
Green, I think fits as well. Linderbaum, if you're looking for a little bit more athletic, get out in space. Not like Kenyon Green's a bad athlete. Kenyon Green's a lot more power to play guard, not center. Right. Linderbaum's only center. Green's probably guard, some versatility. Treylon Burks is the other guy. Jerry Jones loves Arkansas. He's got his weird Arkansas thing going on. Treylon Burks is the guy. They have been talked about replacing Amari Cooper. I think this is a chat pick. So
yeah,
vote him up.
Want to make it
Kenyon
Burks?
Treylon Burks?
Yeah, Burks versus Green. I think that's a good one to kind of put in the chat there. Yeah, I like that too. I don't think that they can really go wrong with that. I think either one of those picks a good one for them, and they're getting good value at either one. Yeah,
and that was my thing with Zion Johnson. Is I think for there's specific things. If you need a guy that needs to come in right away and be a good player on your offensive line, Zion's probably the guy. But Kenyon Green's upside is higher. So if you have other guys around him, I think he makes a lot of sense. I get why Kenyon Green, especially with his versatility, would fit more for Dallas. Treylon Burks makes sense too. So that's why I want to put it to those two.
I think that's good. I'm waiting for some results to come in. It does look like the pick is going to be wide receiver Treylon Burks.
I get it. I do.
That's the closest vote we've had though yet, right?
Out of Arkansas.
That's the closest vote.
That was actually pretty close. It was 60-40. Like some of these have been very lopsided. All right, the Buffalo Bills are trading out. We need to get some more trade outs to try to be a little bit more realistic here. The Buffalo Bills are trading out because they're drafting Breece Hall. They're drafting Breece Hall in the second round.
Can Seattle come get Desmond Ritter now just so we can move on?
We're going to have Seattle coming and getting Desmond Ritter
Before the Titans.
Before the Titans, which was our joke, which is where we thought, hey, it wasn't a joke for Batty. But this is where the Seattle Seahawks go and get their quarterback, Desmond Ritter. The Bills are gonna the Bills are gonna take Breece Hall. Like, I think that buzz is just way too real, and I get it. Like, Breece Hall is a good football player, and like they feel like they're really close. And then Breece Hall probably works out pretty well there, I think, which is scary. But this is where Seattle goes up and gets their quarterback. They're leveraging some of their draft capital that they have at their disposal.
Ooh.
Man,
What?
they get Kayvon Thibodeaux and Desmond Ritter in the first round. Like, that's a good draft for Seattle. That's a good draft.
And the Chiefs just sat on their hands and didn't go trade up for Kayvon Thibodeaux. Tisk tisk.
Hey, we tried, didn't we?
No, not for Thibodeaux. I would have persuaded the people to vote yes.
Oh yeah, we could have gone 29 and 30 to get up to 9 for Thibodeaux. Tennessee Titans at 26 now, and man, I don't know. They're an enigma.
They really are. I mean, Bernard Raymond, get a right tackle. They could maybe enter into the offensive line equation here. I don't know.
Do you think they're another trade out candidate? Do you think that maybe there's another team?
Maybe they lost Roger Saffold. They're center everything around the run game. Would they go for Kenyon Green now? That powerful interior guy to lead out for Derrick Henry. They got to replace Saffold at left guard. It's somebody right now named Aaron Brewer that is slated to be the starter.
Yeah.
That would be my player that I have for them. But I'm okay with exploring a trade out opportunity too, if you have, a good one in mind for a player to come up to get.
Honestly though, if I'm sitting here, I think Kenyon Green, they pull the trigger. I don't think they're getting cute. I think you're right. I think they would just pull the trigger on Kenyon Green here because they're not getting him if they trade out.
Yeah.
So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh,
they're
mad.
One.
They wanted Lewis Cine or Devontae Wyatt. They got neither.
Yeah, that's true.
Daxton Hill?
Daxton Hill would make some sense. I think he would play pretty well in that secondary. They're a tough one for me a little bit. They're missing out on some of that. Do they try and stack edge rusher or do they trade back like Arnold Ebiketie here? Maybe.
I've heard Trey McBride is a name that they might be interested in, a guy that can play early at tight end.
That would be interesting.
It comes from people that cover their team have mentioned his name as just somebody that they would be interested in. But I think if that's the route you go, I do think you trade back. So if you're sitting here and you're Tampa, I think you get ahead of Green Bay and Kansas City and the trade back line. You trade back from an earlier spot. You see if somebody wants Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, and I think let's look at this. Let's have some discourse. Who might want to go?
While you're having that discourse, I do want to mention the chat has thrown it out there a couple of times. David Ojabo makes some sense here. They don't have an immediate need at
Can Tampa afford to waste a year for Tom Brady? Will Tom Brady allow them to waste a year?
You're right.
That's what I'd be worried about.
Right. Yeah.
I think this is Tom's last year there. I think the trade up makes sense here. And I do think Kenny Pickett, I think Kenny Pickett could be a name here that you look at. We've already got Pittsburgh. We've already got Seattle taking their quarterbacks. I'm trying to think maybe
Kyler Gordon, Andrew Booth. Todd Bowles collects defensive backs. That's why Dax Hill also makes sense. I think you trade up. I think you get a quarterback coming. You get a quarterback coming here. Ooh, we're deadlocked at 50-50 though. Like this is up.
Do the Bucks trade back? Ooh, this is interesting. Let's see here. We are at 52-48.
Ooh, okay. Right. So they're staying pick. They're picking here.
Okay.
All
so
right.
The Tampa
Bay. I see somebody saying Travis Jones, and I get Travis Jones. The problem is not the problem, but it sounds like they want more of a 3-tech to pair with Vita Vea. And while Travis Jones would give them some crazy size with some explosive ability in there with Vita Vea, it sounds like they are leaning towards more of a 3-tech type. So I would, insert Perion Winfrey. I just haven't heard his name with them as of this point in time.
It wouldn't. I think this is one of those, like, we don't love the picks, the options here. And I think it'd be kind of fun to throw another fun name out there, like a Perion Winfrey. This might be one of those crazy season picks that you don't really anticipate.
I mean, yeah, we got Logan Hall's in the chat as well. Another player that does have some first round buzz that could play 3-tech for them a little bit, offer some inside outside versatility to them. I could see Logan Hall as well. I think we've heard his name early enough.
I don't hate the Logan Hall idea. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and let's get off. Let's go Logan Hall. The interior defensive line.
Crush my surprise Chiefs pick. Sad.
Oh no. Well, you know what? The draft is about being disappointed. The Green Bay Packers are taking a
That's
wide receiver.
That's what this draft
here,
is
right?
shaping up to be.
I know. The Green Bay Packers are taking a receiver here, right?
Yes, they are. They have to take a receiver here.
I think they are.
Daxton Hill.
You wanna throw out
No.
Daxton Hill?
My guess. That's my guess.
No. I think that they'd take Jahan Dotson before they take Daxton Hill. I think they need receiving
They don't draft littles.
weapons. I know they don't draft littles, but listen, Jahan Dotson, I know. I get it. But listen, he has a ton of round one buzz right now. Like he's I don't know. I like the fit. I do. I like the fit a little bit. George Pickens would be a big fit here. We've just heard so much about him falling out of the first round right now. Like I would slot him in right here and now if we hadn't heard everything indicating that he might fall out of the first round. So I'm looking for the next guy now.
If the board fell like this, I do think that the Packers might just think about Daxton Hill though. To Maddie's point, like they might just say, you know what, we're gonna sit here, we're gonna wait, and we're gonna see, that cliff has happened. We're, I know we pick at 53, and we're probably gonna have to move up from 53 to go get our receiver. But like, I could actually see, to Maddie's point, maybe you just take the best player.
Are they going to miss out on every wide receiver? Seriously, they're going to miss out on every. I mean, that is a very Green Bay thing to do. Don't get me wrong. They would definitely do that.
But here's the thing: Green Bay wide receivers are different, right? Like Alec Pierce, Jalen Tolbert, those are Green Bay wide receivers.
Sure.
Who's to say they're missing out on them at 52? Like,
sure,
yeah,
this could also be a Christian Watson. That would be a Green Bay wide receiver as well.
That's the one I'm thinking about. And you know what? For crazy season purposes, I don't hate the idea of throwing Christian Watson's name out here. What do you think? Let's do it. Let's go Christian Watson.
North Dakota ties, Green Bay. I mean,
North Dakota State wide receiver Christian Watson with the 28th pick. And the Kansas City Chiefs.
All right, open up the polls.
The clock.
Yep, it's poll time.
Yikes!
Everybody, who we got here? We got Daxton Hill that is still on the board. He would make some sense.
Mm-hmm.
You've got
Jahan Dotson. Whole lot of round one buzz about Jahan Dotson. You've seen plenty of people throw him to the Chiefs. Boy Mafe, a lot of Chiefs smoke. Kyler Gordon, a lot of round one and a lot of Chiefs smoke. Like there's players that the Chiefs are routinely mocked here. Not great, not a great look, but they have guys that, come in and would play for the team for sure.
All right.
Okay.
So
we can do up to 4 in the poll. So let's pick, because this is the Chiefs pick. Let's give the people 4 here. Who are the top 4 options that we think at this solution? We just threw out a whole bunch of names.
All right, Daxton Hill's a lock.
Okay.
I'm gonna throw David Ojabo's name. We're seeing a lot of David Ojabo here.
Okay.
We think the Chiefs would really take a David Ojabo.
I don't think so. I think that the injury stuff. I'm
and
trying
the fact
to stay
that
away
he can't play the run.
I just think that the Chiefs are just off on injuries, just in general. It's why I haven't said Andrew Booth.
I would agree. I would put major hesitancy on guys that are injured, especially if they come with other qualms as well.
Yeah, that's George Pickens as well. Yes, unfortunately.
So we're kicking Pickens out.
And Booth.
And
Ojabo. We're gonna make people mad. It's just
guys
this is
love. We love them.
We like them all. We would all take them, but we're trying to be predictive here. Daxton Hill, Kyler Gordon, Boy Mafe, I think, has to be in there, and pick the last, and then Jahan Dotson, right?
Kyer Elam.
Oh yeah.
Kaiir Elam? I mean,
Yeah,
I think
Okay,
there's a lot
all
of smoke.
defensive guys first, and the next one we can do some receivers, I guess, is the
I like
next
that.
move.
Yeah, let's do that. So we'll go Daxton, Kaiir, and Daxton,
Kyler
Kaiir,
Gordon
and Kyler Gordon, and Boye Mafe.
and Boye Mafe.
All right,
Yeah.
cool.
Man.
We're gonna go. We're gonna go there, and we're gonna send that poll up, and we're gonna ask if you who do the Chiefs take at 29? Daxton Hill, Kyler Gordon, Boye Mafe, or Kaiir Elam. That is
Man,
your
people are
options.
gonna riot that George Pickens and David Ojabo and Andrew Booth are
I
all on
know.
the board. We're passing, and I agree.
We're trying to be predictive here, though, and I'm with you guys. I don't know if guys that don't have clean profiles outside of an injury are the guys they go for. I'm seeing a lot of Arnold Ebiketie. He's so tiny. Like, I would take him, but is Steve Spagnuolo going to play a 245-pound edge rusher?
Yeah,
we have a pretty established winner here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm sure it's Daxton Hill.
With the 29th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Daxton Hill, the safety out of Michigan. This is a versatile chess piece. This is a guy that can operate in the slot. I mean, like, this is a guy that actually does fit really well. Very good football player, great instincts. Chiefs fans will love him if he is the pick.
Slot him into the Badger role. Slot him in the Badger role and let him grow.
Okay, so I think I want to ask one more poll really quick here before we give some names. Do the Chiefs go offense or defense next? How about that?
Okay, yeah. You guys can tell us offense or defense. I'm going to say this because I saw it earlier too. I don't think the Chiefs can trade out of here. There's no one worth trading up for. Once Kenny Pickett went, I don't know if there's a trade out spot.
Kenny Pickett did not go.
Oh,
we thought about having Kenny Pickett go.
Ooh, okay. I think you would try to see if you could trade back and just collect worse players for a team. I think you'd have to think about it. And I know people are going to want to. So since we didn't have Kenny Pickett go, there is a guy worth coming up for. Do they trade back from this spot? It's not.
But yeah, I think the farthest. I think you're going all the way back to 43.
Ooh, that's a long way down.
That's
Atlanta.
A
long ways down.
I don't think the Colts are doing it. Seattle already got there. Chicago's not doing it. Jets, Houston, Giants, Detroit, Jacksonville. I don't think any of them are doing it. So I think,
okay. You might be right. There's not a team that's really wanting. So are you willing to go down that far?
All right. So we asked if the Chiefs go offense or defense at number 30, and it's a yes or no poll. So Tucker, can you just put that back? Can you just try that? Can you try that again?
I love it.
This is
Tucker, you're doing a great job, buddy.
You're doing so great. That was, people are having fun with it. So
I voted no just because I wanted to. I guess no was for a trade back.
It was offense or defense. Do they go offense or defense? Is the question. So we're gonna pick offense or defense really quick. We're gonna run a poll. It was 63% yes, Kent. I don't know what that means.
I think that means they picked there.
Stay put. Not
all right, there we go. Do the Chiefs go offense or defense? The poll is now available. This is awesome. I am very fascinated to see what the decision is here.
I mean, this reminds me a little bit of the Jordan Love scenario where the teams that were willing to trade up and the teams that the Chiefs were willing to go back for, like, made the move already. Yeah. Unfortunately, like Seattle's the one there. Seattle is what you're hoping for. So yeah, with that being said, I don't want to trade all the way back to 43. The Chiefs have 50 still. It doesn't make any sense to me to trade back to 43. It just doesn't.
And thanks to everybody watching right now. If you haven't had a chance, the KCSN draft guide is still available to download. You can get it right before the draft. It's like 300 pages of Chiefs specific draft content. So you're going to get write-ups on all the players we've talked about and more, 225 of them. So there's a link in the description. All of you watching, please feel free to purchase that because it's support in order to doing it here at KCSN. We're going defense, boys. The decision has been made. The defense, and I'll be honest with you, I think that's very realistic. I think that is extremely realistic. So now we're sitting here with Kaiir Elam. We're sitting here with Boye Mafe. we're sitting here with Kyler Gordon, right? I mean, do we want to throw?
I think there's zero chance the Chiefs take a slot corner and then draft another corner in round 1.
I know. So
yeah, I think we can take.
I'm just going off the guys we just. So
No,
Boye Mafe and
Drake Jackson, Travis Jones.
Logan Hall still on the board, correct?
No, Logan Hall's off the
board.
board.
We took him off the board.
He was the surprise guy I was going to throw in there. It's like you're looking at a D tackle, you're looking at Boye Mafe. I want to say I would include Arnold Ebiketie. I just don't know if the Chiefs will take him. I don't know if I feel like going out on the limb the Chiefs would take Arnold Ebiketie, sub 250-pound defensive end. I hope they do. I just don't know if I'm willing to say so.
I don't either. And you saw the discourse that they were having about, Brett Veach, his press conference had the discourse about 34 edge rushers.
And how do you play them? Where do you do it?
How do you play them? Do you build? Do you adjust? The debates they're having in the building are the debates you're having right now. So let's go ahead and let's go with, we say Boye Mafe, Travis Jones. Do you want to give him another option?
Drake Jackson, I think, should be in there. If Boye Mafe's in there, Drake Jackson should be in there. And
Boye Mafe
over Boye Mafe.
Boye Mafe, Drake Jackson, and
Travis Jones.
And
Travis the best Jones. I got. I'm looking through the comments now. If somebody's got another one that's going to jump out, I see a couple Pascals.
Not that
first
early.
Round Pascal would be a hard, or first round Cam Thomas would be a hard one for me to take. That's a pretty tough pill to swallow.
All right,
we got the pull up.
We have the poll up, and I'll be honest with you, I'm whelmed.
You're whelmed.
I'm very whelmed by the options here, but at the same time, I think this.
Can we change the offense?
What a great.
I mean, honestly, to his point, the value is probably better at offense. I mean, it's definitely better at offense, but I think this is the things you got to look at here. Maybe you look at a receiver. I mean, I'd rather have Sky Moore, I think, than all of these guys. I would. I'd rather
votes. We got a lot of votes.
We have a decision. You guys ready for this decision? This is kind of fun one. I actually like this one a little bit though. I'm not going to be too beat up about it, but I'm going to be pretty whelmed. And it's getting a little tighter, but I think we have to make a decision here. With the 30th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select defensive tackle Travis Jones out of UConn. Woo! Maddie,
Jones and Jones on the interior, baby.
Maddie, if the Chiefs end Thursday night and it's Daxton Hill and Travis Jones, how are you feeling?
Wholly unexcited. Not upset, I don't think, because they're two good players that are going to make the team better. Are you okay, Craig?
I'm fine. I'm just
fine.
Everybody.
That's what we'll be doing if this is what the Chiefs do, I guess, at the Kingdom Bar and Grill when we're live for every minute of the NFL draft. We'll be breaking things apparently. But no, I'd be unexcited, right? Like, it's not a bad draft. Getting Daxton Hill, who can play in the slot and be good from the get-go, getting Travis Jones, who's going to take over as your nose tackle, maybe be the centerpiece of your interior defensive line for the future. It's a fine draft. You're getting a solid B out of it. It's just nothing leaves me excited. I don't think Daxton Hill's a playmaker. I don't think that Travis Jones is a playmaker. You just had 2 round 1 picks. And you didn't get a single playmaker out of it. That's my concern.
Yeah. I mean, your floor is high. Both of those are high floor players. And I like both of those players plenty. But you didn't get a swing. Like, you didn't take the big swing. I like Travis Jones a lot. I think that athletic nose tackles are going to help change the way that Steve Spagnuolo plays the defense. Like, I'm excited schematically about what they just added, but I'm not excited about it from hey, we're going to be able to line this guy up and he's going to be able to beat anybody we want. And, like, here's our matchup dominator and everything like that. Like, neither one of those guys is that. So yeah, I am a little bit whelmed by that, but I can't hate it. I get it. I understand the schematic of those two guys and adding those two guys. I want them to trade up in round 2 to try and get a receiver. Like, that's the reaction. That's what I'm walking away from round 1 with. It's like, I need to see who they're willing to trade up for to get that wide receiver. If you're willing to take 2 high floor players here, take a big gamble early in round 2 to help complete it because you gave yourself a good floor of the draft by taking these 2 guys.
Yeah, I think, you know, this can kind of be a good exercise too, to be whelmed, honestly, because, you know, we hear the same names over and over again. So sometimes getting to hear something that you're not thrilled with isn't necessarily bad. I'm whelmed. These are good football players that they got, though. And so it's kind of one of those things where I'm not going to be too beat up when it's all said and done, but it's definitely like I would have been hoping for better, you know. And I think that's the thing with mock drafts these days is everybody's always hoping for better. So
yeah,
that's kind of where we sit. Let's just knock this thing out real quick. Cincinnati Bengals. I want to give them a kicker because I hate them now.
Listen, don't give him punt God. He's too good of a player.
Yeah, he's not getting a raise.
Kyer Elam and just move on.
Yeah, cornerback Kyer Elam.
Kyer Elam.
Or is it Kyler Gordon? I don't know which one they like better, actually.
No, we're just going to make a decision here because we're trying to get out.
La-di-da.
Okay, so the Detroit Lions back on the board.
Kenny Pickett,
or they trade out because they have no problem going back farther because they have another pick right around the corner.
Pick 34. Okay, we'll do one more trade up. We're gonna trade up. This is where Atlanta's gonna go up and get Kenny Pickett.
Atlanta's not coming up to get one of these quarterbacks. They didn't take Malik Willis. Don't you dare. You will not do this to me. You will not give them bum Kenny Pickett if they did not take Malik Willis in the top 10. No chance that they waited and passed on Justin Fields to draft and Malik Willis to draft Kenny Pickett. Absolutely not.
I could listen to Maddie go on this rant for a long time.
Any other team is fine. I don't even care if it's the Chiefs. Anybody but Atlanta after we made them pass on Malik Willis.
They're staying then.
They can take Kenny Pickett. They can take Kenny Pickett for all I care. It's just not Atlanta.
I got Jared Goff.
All right. The Detroit Lions are taking quarterback Kenny Pickett.
Kid got bullied into that pick.
Absolutely not allowing it to be the Atlanta Falcons.
That's make sure if you were watching this, make sure you're checking out the Kingdom Bar and Grill this weekend. You want to come hang out with us. We're going to be breaking down every single pick of the NFL draft. We are live tomorrow. We are live all draft Thursday through Saturday. We can't wait. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll catch you later.